They told you to fear your own power, and you believed it. From the moment you felt the first spark of desire, the world started shaping how you relate to it. They wrapped you in shame, called it dangerous, dirty, sinful, whispering that your impulses were a problem to control, not a force to understand. So you got separated from the most powerful energy inside you, not because it was evil, but because it was strong. What they never wanted you to realize is this. Sexual energy isn't just physical. It's transformative. The life force that creates worlds, moves mountains, and bends reality to your will when you learn to use it. For centuries, secret groups and mystics understood its power. They didn't waste it, they mastered it. They used it not for indulgence, but for growth, for transformation. While the world around you turned sex into a transaction or a taboo, they quietly built real power. That's what they never taught you. Because if you knew how to unlock it, you'd stop chasing, stop fitting in, stop obeying, and start attracting everything you truly want. Sexual energy isn't just about reproduction or pleasure. It's creation itself. It's the primal pulse that shapes stars, forms thoughts, and fuels the rhythm of life. But at some point, you were taught to disconnect from it. Not because it lost power, but because its power was too great to leave in your hands. Ancient cultures got this. In Egypt, sexual energy was part of their spiritual beliefs. In India, it was honored through tantra, not as indulgence, but as a sacred practice. Tibetan monks studied inner alchemy, mastering their energy to go beyond the body and open doors to higher awareness. These weren't primitive myths. They were codes, techniques, systems of power passed down among initiates, not the general public. Because this energy, when harnessed, does more than awaken. It aligns, it awakens, it amplifies your intentions and reshapes the world around you. Every desire you've ever had is a signal, but without mastery that signal gets lost, blocked by shame, stuck in guilt, drowned out by the noise of modern life. When refined, sexual energy becomes a focused beam, a magnet pulling in experiences, people, and opportunities that match the power you're ready to claim. But here's the catch. The systems that shaped your education never wanted you to find this out. Colonial powers and religious authorities not only stole land but also ripped away sacred knowledge. They replaced sacred union with sin, eroticism with evil, sensuality with shame. They recoded your instincts as threats, demonized the body as a prison, not to protect your soul, but to control it. And that programming still echoes in schools, churches, movies, and family gatherings. Today, you've inherited a legacy of fear around the very energy that should empower you. What they feared most was that you'd remember that your energy isn't a problem, but the answer. That your desire isn't a flaw, but a compass. That when awakened, your sexual essence brings not just pleasure, but clarity, direction, and magnetism. You don't need anyone to tell you what to want. You already know. The real challenge is peeling back the layers that told you not to trust it. Some truths are too old and powerful to share openly. Modern science is catching up to what the ancients whispered in temples and carved in stone. Quantum physics shows us that everything is vibration. Neuroscience proves that thought combined with emotion reshapes the brain. And biochemistry shows that sexual energy changes your hormonal and energetic patterns. What you feel in moments of desire isn't just pleasure. It's a wave of raw creative intelligence, waiting for direction. And yet, most people waste it, scatter it, or bury it under years of unresolved shame. Sexual energy wants to rise. That's its nature. When unconscious, it feeds addictions and habits that drain you. But when consciously directed, it becomes a current you can ride toward healing, balance, and creation. The ancients didn't worship the body for looks. They revered it as a vessel of power. Orgasm wasn't the finish line. It was the start. A gateway, a transformation, a moment when the veil thins and the subconscious opens up. It's when you imprint the future you want onto your being, not by force, but by frequency. They told you to suppress it, to be ashamed of it, to disconnect from it. But what if the thing they told you to hide is exactly the force that can bring you everything you seek? Your growth doesn't start by fixing yourself. It starts by reclaiming what you were taught to fear, not with lust, but with respect, not with secrecy, but with sovereignty. The energy was always there. You just never learned how to use it. Until now, most people never learn to work with their energy. They push it down with guilt or give in to distractions, never realizing both paths lead to the same place: powerlessness. You were taught sexual energy is something to fear or consume, never something to master. That's no accident, because mastery leads to independence, and independence threatens control. But here's the secret the mystics knew. Sexual energy isn't something to run from. It's something to transform. Alchemy wasn't just about turning metal into gold. It was a metaphor for inner change. The alchemists weren't trying to change matter. They were purifying mind, body, and spirit until the heavy became light. And nowhere is that clearer than with sexual energy. When left unchecked, it traps you in endless cycles of desire and emptiness. But when refined, through breath, awareness, and intention, it becomes pure fuel for creation, healing, and manifestation. That's where the real work begins. Because if you're like most people, you inherited a broken relationship with your own energy. You were taught to chase release, measure pleasure in moments, and keep your focus outside yourself, on bodies, fantasies, images, outcomes. But alchemy is an inside job. It starts by reclaiming the root of your desire, not as lust, but as vital force. The goal isn't to fight the energy, but to harness it. Let it flow through your system to nourish every part of you. This is what the ancient Taoists called the microcosmic orbit, what the Tantrics saw as the union of Shiva and Shakti within. It's about moving energy through your body instead of letting it get stuck or slip away. You don't do this by forcing it, but by being present. Your breath becomes the bridge. Awareness becomes the container. You start by noticing your impulses instead of reacting to them. No judgment, no holding back, just watching. You learn that every wave of desire is a messenger, not a demand. And when you stop losing energy through unconscious reactions, you start building power. What used to drain you now fuels you. What used to distract you now sharpens your focus. This is transformation in action. You're no longer just using energy. You're directing it. The benefits show up fast and spread wide. The mental fog clears, confidence grows, emotions stabilize, you become less reactive, more magnetic. People notice, even if they can't explain why, you just act different. Your presence becomes undeniable, not because you're louder, but because you're in sync. And what happens when you're in sync? You attract not by forcing or trying, but by vibrating on the same frequency, like attracts like. This isn't philosophy, it's physics. This is the power that was hidden from you, on purpose, not by accident. A society built on consumption needs you powerless, distracted, and cut off from your source. But when you come back to it, when you remember that your energy isn't a problem but a gateway, everything changes. You stop chasing success, pleasure, approval. You start embodying them. And from that space, you don't just get what you want. You attract what matches your highest path. You become the magnet, the source, the alchemist. You were never supposed to understand the power of your own desire. The moment you became aware of it, the system kicked in to shape it, twist it, use it, weaponize it against you. They didn't do it openly, but through shame, silence, and slow conditioning. You learned to link arousal with guilt before you even had a chance to question why. You were told it was dirty, dangerous, sinful, that certain urges made you a bad person, that purity meant obedience and desire was a flaw. But beneath all that noise lies a simple truth the system never wanted you to see. Desire is energy, and energy is power. Because if you control how someone relates to their own sexual energy, you control how they see themselves, how they act, and what they think they deserve. You don't need chains to enslave people. You only need shame. You don't need prisons when the bars are inside their minds. And that's exactly what they built. A mental cage formed in schools, churches, families. No one had to spell out the rules, you just felt them. You were praised for hiding, punished for expressing. You were taught to laugh at your instincts, to keep your light hidden, to disconnect from the very force that kept you alive. And then they gave you a replacement. Porn, empty instant gratification, hypersexualized media, endless stimulation with no connection. Over time, you stopped seeing sexuality as sacred and started seeing it as a show. Something outside yourself, something to consume, something unrelated to your body, your energy, your truth. The system created the wound and then sold you the fix. So your creative force got hijacked, wasted, scattered, diminished. But this was never really about sex. It was always about control. They sold you a story to make you forget who you are. Because if you remembered, you'd stop living in fear, stop obeying, stop settling. You'd start to radiate a presence that can't be controlled. That kind of presence doesn't just change rooms. It changes realities and scares systems built on passivity. That's why they needed to get to you early. That's why they rewrote your instincts as something to fight. Look around. Society still runs on sexual distortion. Companies exploit it to sell stuff. Religions suppress it to hold power. Governments distract you with it while they make decisions behind closed doors. Everyone profits from your disconnect. Everyone except you. Because as long as you stay stuck in the cycle of shame and distraction, you can't tap into the energy that should fuel your transformation. But here's the truth they never wanted to spread. That energy never left you. It's still there, quiet, alive, waiting for you to claim it. It's not dirty, it's not shameful, it's sacred. The moment you stop seeing it through their lens is when you start seeing clearly. This programming isn't just in your thoughts. It's in your nervous system. Your body remembers what your mind was trained to forget. The tightness in your chest, the guilt in your stomach, the hesitation in your voice. Those aren't weaknesses. They're conditioning. When you start to unlearn that shame, everything changes. The noise fades, the magnetism comes back. You don't act like someone with something to hide. You move like someone with something to share. Your energy becomes grounded, not scattered, focused, not desperate. And people will sense that shift, even if they can't explain it, because the body tells the truth long before the mouth does. They didn't want you to see this, but you're starting to. This is how the system loses, not when you fight it, but when you rise above it. And the first step is reclaiming what they convinced you to throw away. Your desire, your energy, your power. You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. That's the truth beneath all the surface-level law of attraction stuff that's been watered down and sold back to you as quick affirmations. Here's the missing piece no one talks about. Manifestation isn't just mental. It's energetic. It's embodied. And the strongest energy you carry isn't in your thoughts. It's in your body, specifically in your sexual energy. It's not about desire the way you were taught. Something fleeting, indulgent, or only about lust. It's about the raw, pure frequency of life itself. Sexual energy is your generating power. It's the current that brings your body to life, moves your emotions, and shapes the electromagnetic field around you. It's not abstract. It's science. Every thought and feeling you have sends out a frequency. That frequency sends a signal. That signal draws in experiences that match what you're putting out. And sexual energy, when consciously charged with intention, acts like an amplifier. Think of it like electricity. Most people light a candle when they could be powering a whole city. They wish, hope, visualize. But without energy behind it, those thoughts are just static. It's not enough to think about abundance if your nervous system is stuck in scarcity. It's not enough to say affirmations if your energy is scattered, blocked, or leaking without you even realizing. Real manifestation happens when your whole system, mind, body, and spirit, is in sync. And this alignment gets supercharged when your sexual energy is awakened and focused with intention. That's why ancient practitioners put so much emphasis on harnessing this force. In tantric rituals, sexual energy wasn't just about pleasure. It was a way to shift states of consciousness. In Taoist practices, sexual vitality was seen as physical renewal and spiritual clarity. These weren't just myths. They were technologies, systems that viewed the body as a vehicle, breath as a bridge, and orgasm as a moment when the line between thought and reality thins. In those moments, when pleasure, presence, and focus come together, you're imprinting your energy with intention. That's when you plant seeds in the quantum field. That's when your thoughts start taking shape. But this doesn't happen when you're chasing dopamine or using sex as a distraction. It happens when you treat your energy like currency, investing it in what truly matters. That's the difference between manifesting and daydreaming. One is passive, the other active. You become the frequency you want to experience. You stop visualizing and start becoming. You don't beg the universe to deliver. You tune into the reality where it's already happened, and your energy takes care of the rest. This is where the modern world misses the mark. They either ignore sexual energy completely or reduce it to a mechanical release. But true manifestation takes more than vision boards and good vibes. It requires embodiment. When your intention lives only in your head, it's just an idea. When it moves through your sexual energy, it becomes a magnetic command. You weren't taught this because they didn't want you to be powerful. Power doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't obey. It doesn't conform. Someone who can direct their energy doesn't fall for empty promises, toxic jobs, or shallow validation. They don't need to chase anything. They become the center of gravity, and the world moves around them. So next time desire stirs inside you, don't waste it, silence it, or numb it. Sit with it, breathe it in, ask it what it wants to become. Use it to shape the reality you choose. This is sexual alchemy. This is manifestation, not out of desperation but through embodiment. You already have the power. The question is, are you using it? You can't manifest anything lasting if you still feel shame about the power that creates it. And for most people, shame isn't just an emotion. It becomes a second skin. It lives in the body, shapes posture, infiltrates thoughts. Quiet, sneaky, always whispering the same message. You're too much. You're not enough. Desire is dangerous. This shame didn't start with you. It's been passed down. Layered in language, embedded in tradition, woven into religion, echoed in silence. But here's the buried truth. Shame isn't part of who you are. It was installed. From childhood, most people are taught their bodies are shameful, that pleasure should be hidden, that desire must be controlled or earned. The moment a child is told not to touch themselves, not to ask questions, not to explore, they're being conditioned to distrust their own impulses, not because those impulses are wrong, but because someone else decided control mattered more than connection. That pattern doesn't disappear with age. It changes form. Guilt becomes normal. Judgment turns inward. And over time, you don't need anyone else to control you. You start controlling yourself. But the body remembers long after the mind forgets the stories. Your nervous system holds the signals. That tightness in your stomach, hesitation before speaking your truth, the urge to shrink away when someone gets too close. Those are stored shame. And if you never face it, it will keep running your life. You can't fully own your power while apologizing for it. You can't manifest abundance if you don't feel worthy. You can't radiate magnetism if part of you still thinks you shouldn't shine. This isn't just mindset, it's deep programming. Getting past shame doesn't come from force or performance. It comes from presence, a gentle, steady attention to the parts of you that were told to shrink. The parts labeled too loud, too wild, too sensual, too curious. You don't fix those parts. You embrace them. You breathe into them, listen to them, reclaim them, because they hold the keys to your energy, creativity, and magnetism. They're not flaws. They're pieces of yourself that never got permission to be free. One of the most powerful parts of sexual alchemy isn't physical. It's emotional. It's learning to feel desire without attaching shame. It's being able to stay with the excitement, the presence, the power, and not run away. Not seek distractions, not shove it down or push it out. Just sit with it. Let the energy flow without fear. Because when you can hold your energy without reacting, you start to reprogram your whole system. Your body learns to feel safe. Your mind learns to trust. and your energy stops leaking. It gathers, it strengthens, it becomes yours again. Most people never reach this because they were taught to run or numb out instead of seeking truth. But when you stop running, you see desire isn't your enemy, it's your guide. It shows you what draws you in, what you want to express, what you came here to create. And instead of filtering it through guilt, you start honoring it. You move from repression to refinement. You don't chase pleasure, you create with it. When you get past shame, you don't just free more energy. You change how the world responds to you. You enter rooms differently. You speak with calm confidence that asks for no permission. You attract people, opportunities, and experiences that match the version of you that no longer hides. And what they feel isn't just confidence. It's alignment, power, presence. You were taught your desire is a problem. But what if it's actually the map back to yourself? What if the part they told you to fear is exactly the part that leads to your freedom? It's not about indulgence. It's about integration. You don't need to fight your desires. You need to feel them, understand them, and channel them. Because when you do, you stop fighting yourself. And that's when your energy finally flows. Your body isn't a cage, it's a circuit. A living, breathing temple of energy connected to an intelligence way beyond what you learned in school. It holds memories, intuition, and power. Yet most people never learn how to use it. They treat the body like something to fix or tolerate, not as a sacred tool for transformation. And that's exactly how the system wants it. Because when someone is disconnected from their body, they're disconnected from their truth. And when someone is disconnected from their truth, they become easy to lead, manipulate, and control. What ancient traditions knew, and what modern science is just starting to confirm, is that the body is a portal, a bridge between the visible and the invisible. Your mind might try to figure its way to freedom, but real transformation begins in the body. Your nervous system doesn't lie, your heart doesn't filter, your breath doesn't cover up. When these systems are activated and aligned, you don't just feel better, you become different. You vibrate differently, you attract differently, because energy doesn't lie either. Sexual energy is the key to unlocking that whole body intelligence. It starts at the root and rises through you like a current, like a spiral, like breath itself. The spine isn't just a biological structure, it's a channel. What yogis call the sushumna, what Taoists describe as the microcosmic orbit, is a path, a conduit, a wand, if you will, for directing energy. And when that energy rises with presence, not just during sex, but in meditation, movement, stillness, it clears the way. Shame, trauma, confusion. It purifies, reconfigures, upgrades. You were taught to separate mind, body, and soul, like they're different things. As if thinking is one thing, feeling another, and your body just a meat suit you carry around. But that's the biggest lie of all. Your body is where your subconscious lives. It's where your conditioning shows up. It's where your deepest truths and wounds hide. You don't change your life just by thinking new thoughts. You change your life by embodying new frequencies. That's what the mystics meant by becoming light. And sexual energy isn't just physical. It's bioelectric. It lights you up. When you're aroused, not just sexually but spiritually, you become magnetic. Your posture changes, your eyes sharpen, your breath deepens, you stop shrinking, you stop apologizing for taking up space. This isn't confidence, it's coherence. It's energy flowing through your system, unlocked and alive. That energy knows where to go if you let it, but most people suppress it or release it too fast, never giving it time to rise. They block their own power out of habit, guilt, or plain ignorance. They were never taught the tools, but you can learn them. Breath is the first tool, intention the second, presence the third. With just these three, you can start changing your inner world in real time. That's what the ancients practiced for decades. It's what modern seekers are rediscovering, not because it's trendy, but because it works. And when that energy moves, it doesn't just change you inside, it changes your life outside. You attract different people, speak with more clarity, become more decisive. You access altered states, not through drugs, but through the biology you were born with. You stop needing to escape your body and start realizing it's the tool that sets you free. The mind-body-soul system isn't just a poetic idea. It's a real operating system. And sexual energy is the central processor. Once you wake it up, you can't go back to sleep. You can't, because now you feel what's always been there, waiting beneath the numbness. It's not lust. It's not fantasy. It's truth, power, and purpose. It's not about being sexual. It's about being fully alive, unapologetically, visibly. Your body is the compass. Your breath is the guide. Your energy is the map. And you already have everything you need to find your way. Most people go through life turned off. Their energy is muted. Their presence watered down. Their desires buried under guilt, exhaustion, and distractions. They just go through the motions, mimic others, but they don't radiate. They forgot how to do it, not because they're lazy or broken, but because the world taught them to trade authenticity for acceptance, power for predictability, magnetism for safety. And it works. A numbed population is easier to sell to, easier to control, easier to keep small. But here's the truth. Every person emits a frequency. You're a transmitter, a signal. And sexual energy, when recovered and refined, sharpens your signal so it's clear and impossible to ignore. It's not about looks, charm, or playing some game. True magnetism isn't an act. It's energy. It happens when you're fully present in your body, aligned with your truth, unashamed of your power. Have you felt that before? Those rare moments when someone walks into a room and everyone notices without them saying a word. It's not how they look. It's how they feel. It's how comfortable they are in their own skin. It's how connected they are to their energy. That kind of presence isn't an accident. It's cultivated. It comes from someone who stopped wasting their power and started living from their core. Recovering your magnetism means unlearning what made you numb. It means seeing where you disconnected from your body, your breath, your desire. It means taking responsibility for how you show up, not as a performance, but as a deeply embodied truth. You start treating your energy like a sacred resource. You begin saying no to what drains you, even when it's easier to say yes. You stop looking for outside approval and start building inner coherence. And, little by little, you begin to glow in a way that doesn't fade when the lights go out. Sexual alchemy isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you really are. The unfiltered, unapologetic, radiant version of you the world tried to bury. The version who speaks clearly, moves with intention, and attracts effortlessly, not by force, but by frequency. You don't have to beg for love, attention, or chances when your energy speaks for you. No tricks, no games, just presence, truth, and alignment. And in a world designed to distract you, showing up fully is a radical act. Fully embodying yourself is rebellion. Your magnetism, once awakened, is contagious. It reminds others of what they forgot in themselves. You become a living permission slip, no preaching, just being. And that's what makes it so powerful. The system can't profit from someone who isn't searching outside what they've already found inside. The more you refine your energy, the less you'll tolerate what disrespects it. That's the change. You stop bending to fit into spaces not meant for you. You start creating your own space, and everything that matches your frequency begins to find you. You go from being a consumer of life to the signal life responds to, and that shift changes everything. Recovering your magnetism isn't about being perfect. It's about coherence. When your thoughts, words, actions, and energy line up, people feel it. They trust it, they're drawn to it, and the best part is, you're not acting. You're simply radiating who you already are. You live in a world that teaches you to blend in, but you weren't born to be invisible. Your power isn't something you need to get, it's something you need to remember. And when you remember, you become magnetic. Not because you're trying, but because you finally are. Sexual energy doesn't belong in a box. It was never meant to be confined to the bedroom or reduced to a brief moment of pleasure. It's not just for intimacy. It's for everything. This energy is the root of creation, the engine of your vitality, the battery behind your purpose. When you really understand it, it fuels more than your body. It fuels your whole life, your relationships, your focus, your creativity, your voice. All of it rises or falls based on the quality of the energy you hold. And yet no one ever told you that you could build your reality with it. Because when you start applying sexual alchemy to your everyday life, everything changes. Work no longer feels like survival, but like expression. Conversations stop feeling like transactions and become magnetic. Even the smallest movements carry weight. It's not about rushing or productivity. It's about presence, intention, resonance. The more aligned you are with your energy, the more deliberate your life becomes. You're not chasing success to feel powerful. You're already operating from power. And success becomes a natural result of that state. This isn't philosophy. It's lived experience. When you harness your energy and direct it clearly, your nervous system regulates, your decision-making sharpens, and your emotional resilience grows. You become less reactive and more intuitive, less scattered and more sovereign. You organize your life not around tasks or to-do lists, but around your own rhythm, your own internal signal. From that place, your actions carry weight. Your voice cuts through the noise. Your presence commands attention without asking for it. Sexual alchemy teaches you to move from the inside out. It breaks down the old idea that life is about effort and invites a new way of being, where energy matters more than appearances, truth matters more than performance, and frequency matters more than force. And when you live like this, you start building a reality that's not just sustainable but sacred. You stop compromising your essence for validation. You stop spending time on things that numb your spirit. You stop tolerating anything that asks you to dim your light. And in return, life starts bringing you experiences that reflect who you've become. That's where alchemy becomes real. Not just knowing your power, but living it in every choice, every boundary, every quiet moment. You're casting a new spell on your reality. You're not waiting for permission or waiting for change. You're creating your own frequency. And the more consistent it becomes, the more stable your outer world gets. You stop needing control because you are the current. This moment isn't just a turning point. It's a choice. You can go back to old patterns, distractions, the watered-down version of yourself that always played it safe. Or you can dive headfirst into the life your energy has been trying to build for you all along. The life where you don't shrink to fit in but expand to lead. Where your boundaries don't isolate you but protect your signal. Where your presence doesn't compete. It commands. Your sacred power isn't something outside of you. It already lives in your body, your breath, your system. It doesn't need to be created. It needs to be remembered. And once remembered, it needs to be lived. Not in secret, but fully. Not with fear, but with reverence. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else's dream. It needs you, lit up, switched on, aligned with your fire. That's the true revolution. Not louder, not faster, but deeper, more real, more magnetic. You've never lost anything. Not love, not worth, not power. It's been there all along, waiting beneath the noise. The world told you to look outside for approval, status, performance, consumption. But what you were really searching for has always been inside you, hidden not because it was weak, but because it was sacred. And sacred things are often veiled, not out of secrecy, but out of protection. The tragedy is you learn to doubt it, to doubt yourself. You were trained to mistrust the very force that makes you magnetic, alive, creative, and whole. But something inside resisted. That silent knowing, that gut feeling, that inner fire that never fully went out. That's what brought you here. That's what's awakening now. Sexual alchemy isn't about learning something new. It's about remembering what you were taught to forget. It's about returning to your original self, before guilt, before performance, before silence. The you who knew your energy was meant to be felt, not filtered. The you who never apologized for existing. When you reclaim that energy, life starts reorganizing around you. People feel it. Those who are meant to find you do. Those who drain you move away. Doors open that logic can't explain. This isn't coincidence. It's resonance. Because the world doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to who you are. And when you live as someone who trusts their energy, honors their desires, and radiates presence without shame, reality reflects that back. With clarity, opportunity, and truth. And here's the real shift. You don't have to force things anymore. You don't have to struggle for what's already aligned. You move through life with ease and conviction. You stop living on autopilot. You start planning your days based on what nourishes you, not what drains you. Life doesn't get easy or perfect, but it becomes yours, completely, unapologetically yours. The system will try to pull you back. It'll try to make you forget. It'll sell you the same old lie in shinier packaging. But once you feel your energy rise, once you experience your body as a portal and your desire as divine, you can't unsee it. You've overcome the illusion. You've reclaimed your compass. And that compass doesn't point toward escape. It points toward embodiment. You don't need more noise. You need deeper silence. You don't need more stimulation. You need real sensation. You don't need someone else's map. You are the map. It's not just about sex, power, or attraction. It's about alignment. Living so your inner and outer worlds no longer clash. From that space, everything becomes clearer. Every yes, every no, every step, every pause. Everything flows from the source you finally remembered. No more shrinking, no more apologizing, no more settling for half-truths and watered-down versions of who you came to be. Your sexual energy isn't dangerous. Your power isn't too much. Your presence isn't a threat. They only told you otherwise so you'd never fully step into it. But that time is over. This is the era of remembrance, return, and reclamation. You don't need to be fixed. You need permission, and only you can give it. You're the alchemist, the channel, the current, and the world is waiting for the version of you who finally gets this. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, "I understand."